Just as an introduction to you all, my name is Richie Monroe. I'm Mina Foundation's Community Manager, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. So thank you from the Mina team for being here, considering it will be late or early in your time zone. But we do have a pretty packed hour and a half of heavy information for you. So again, it's exciting, and we have quite a few things to go through. So our spotlight will run for about an hour and a half. Our speakers for the event are Evan Shapiro. As most of you would know, he's a CEO of the Mina Foundation. And Evan will present updates along with the Mina Foundation mission and vision. And shortly after that, we'll have Bijan Shahrokhi, Head of Product at O1 Labs. And Bijan will present product priorities and the updates associated. And after Bijan, we'll have Christine, and she's the Mina Foundation Community Lead. And Christine will present the Community Spotlight. Now, all of these events are quite in depth. So yeah, be prepared, sit back, soak it up. And shortly after that, we'll be having a 45-minute or so AMA with the panelists as well. So Evan, Bijan, and Christine. Hello, Evan, how are you?
Hey, good, thanks. Can people see my screen? Cool, awesome. Okay, so hey everyone, glad to be here to talk to you this morning about the project. So I'm Evan. I am the CEO of the Mina Foundation, previously a co-founder of O1 Labs. And yeah, I'm excited to kick this thing off today. So just to briefly go over agenda again, we just had that awesome welcome. I'll be talking a little bit about both the status of Mina briefly, as well as an update on the Mina Foundation mission and vision. And then Bijan will be talking about product priorities update. You'll hear about just in general community spotlight and community stuff, and then there'll be an AMA with me at the end. So I guess just to mention, the Minet's been live and stable for 6 months. This is awesome for us to see because it means all of our testing worked out. Yeah, I don't know, it's cool. It's cool to see that the network's been doing so well. We've seen a lot of growth over this time. We were 50,000 accounts on chain. It was hard to get the exact number, so we were going conservative with this. So at least more than 88% are staking. At times, the number's been much higher, but you know, really awesome staking percentage, which is cool. We've had a lot of blocks produced. We've also had a lot of snarks produced. It's kind of normal to operation of the protocol, but just pretty cool to think about just how many zero knowledge proofs have been produced for like what was only recently a production technology. It's cool. We have lots of members on Discord and Telegram and a lot of people building things, and we'll be announcing new community programs today. I'm very excited for these, so please stick around and listen about these. I think they'll be really cool. Yes. I'm also very excited today that we're announcing like both imminently on Twitter, if it hasn't happened already, and on the next slide, finally, like what's up with the Ethereum RFP with the Ethereum Foundation. So that's exciting. We also recently announced this partnership with Polygon, where I think we'll be able to like build a lot of really cool things together with all the great products building on their ecosystem, as well as what we can do with snaps and zero knowledge proofs. There's also been many new tools and resources created by Mina Ecosystem participants. If you haven't seen all of these awesome Mina tools, is a place to go. Mina.awesome.tools, I think, to check those out. Yeah, so so finally we've gone through the process. We've selected a team, Nil, to be building the implementation of a verifier for Mina that runs in EVM. So they'll be building this out over the next few months. And this is a project that we're doing between Mina Foundation and Ethereum Foundation. And why this is really cool is it's something that will let an Ethereum smart contract effectively be verifying and holding on to a full proof of Mina's ledger state. And this takes advantage of how small the Mina proof actually is, that it's only this few kilobytes, that it can be verified so quickly, to verify it on another chain directly, which is something that will both let other applications on Ethereum start using Mina snaps as if they were kind of native, which is cool, because there's not this the usual kind of challenge you have with bridging isn't there, because you're just fully verifying all of Mina's consensus and all of Mina's state on top of Ethereum. So it's just this really elegant unidirectional bridge for using Mina snaps from Ethereum. And then on top of that, there's some good routes potentially for building the other half as well using this. So you can have a really cool bridge that is very trustless and very secure between Mina and Ethereum as well, which there's a lot of directions that are exciting. One is using this to verify Ethereum state from Mina, so you can get more trustless access to Ethereum, even if you don't have the ability to run an Ethereum full node, as well as potentially doing something where this can help create bridges between different protocols by using these bidirectional trustless bridges. I know the last two are a little vague, but at least the unidirectional bridge is on its way, and very excited to see that happen and to roll out over the next few months. So cool. So I wanted to briefly share. So Bijan will be talking much more about kind of the product state and where we're going to go for the product and all that kind of thing. But I wanted to share a little bit on Mina Foundation mission and vision. Last time we talked about this, we had sent out this ecosystem survey, and we had over 2,000 responses. I want to say it's like 2,300 and something, which is awesome, because like it wasn't like super short survey. It was like a lot of questions. So thank you everyone that filled that out. It was really actually really helpful to see it. And what we learned about are just basically some things about why the community cares, why they're involved, how they want to participate. And Mina community members care about transparency, productivity, and vision, and they look to the Mina Foundation to uphold and reinforce these values and pillars. The majority want to learn more about Mina's technology and are here because they're invested in Mina's long-term future. And a large segment is interested in growing a very safe and inclusive community and guiding and orienting new members. And many people self-identified to be participating in many different ways or be interested in participating in many different ways. So we want to make sure that routes for all those are available as we kind of build out this whole thing together. Given that, we thought about, well, what should the promise of Mina Foundation be? How should we be trying to fit into this picture that we're seeing develop along the community? And it really comes down to how we can be supporting and how we can be supporting all the other things that people have been bridging in the survey. What can we do as a foundation to help make all those easier for everyone to do it if they already want to do it? So we came down to like these kind of 4 promises. So for one, allocate resources strategically and equitably. Strategically, this looks like partnerships, grant cohorts, and project grants. So being able to distribute these out in a way that is fair, a way that corresponds to all of our shared goals we want to achieve with the protocol. Next is ensuring the network health and security. So operationally, this is about working with key partners to develop, protect, and reinforce the infrastructure and protocol. The Mina Foundation itself is in sort of the support position where it can help all these different entities do these different roles, but as we can, we want to help ensure that this comes to be, the network continues to be healthy and secure. We also have a promise to support participants. So tactically, this starts with creating an environment for members to collaborate and thrive in a safe and secure way. We want to create an environment where people like feel free to express themselves and feel free to do good work, and where there are kind of good guidelines and roadmaps that are concrete around what you can actually do to start participating. So it's not just kind of like this landscape of lack of clarity around what would actually do there. So this one as well. And lastly is championing Mina in the wider world. So Mina is, a protocol that has all these different sets of potential and ways that we can have a lot of impact, both within crypto and we think one day outside of crypto. So what can the Mina Foundation do to help share all the great things people are doing in this space and champion Mina outside of, to just keep expanding the pool of people that are interested and know about Mina? Yes. So between all these four promises, we really hope we can help support the community, and you'll be seeing more very concrete things on these soon, including later in this talk about things that we're going to start doing to actually start making these happen. And maybe you got kind of the idea of this already, but the mission is basically we're going to serve and empower the expanding ecosystem of Mina participants. It's a kind of meta role where we're just trying to help everyone else do their best part. And if you have ideas on things we could be additionally doing or should be starting to think about doing in the future, let us know, because we want to just basically help serve and empower the ecosystem. And there are some values we identified that we want to make sure to hold to. So this is like basically what you can count on the Mina Foundation values that for us to hold to. So for one is service, we want to focus on understanding what the community needs and serve as an underlying support system rather than kind of the central star. We want that to be others. Openness, we welcome diverse and divergent perspectives and communicate transparently and proactively. This both refers to like, we want to make sure that we're like adapting to hold the space for the global community that we think is there. And we want to kind of be an open book that reflects back onto the community everything they might need to know to be really effective at what they're doing. Relatability, we seek to be accessible and approachable in how we serve and speak, so members feel like they belong. We want to make sure that the information we're doing isn't like obscure and hard to understand. We want to make sure we're putting things together in a way that is really comprehensible and really easy to grasp. And lastly, accountability, we report on decisions, goals, and progress and create feedback cycles for the community to inform and speak for us. I think in particular, it's going to be important that both as a foundation, as a community, we think about the evidence behind our actions and evaluate our effectiveness and how well we're holding all these things regularly. And it's definitely up to the foundation as well to be accountable for producing reports on that and being really transparent and open about how, certain things went. And some things are going to go really well and some things will take iteration. So the only way we discover that is through these feedback cycles. So making sure we're making room for that as well. And that's it. So I hope that was a good preview of both some things with the project and some things with the mission and vision. Here are all the standard links. I'll kick it back to Richie now. Thanks, everyone. Oh, and I'll see you for the AMA, at the end.
Thank you, Evan. That was awesome. Very in-depth. So now we're going to hand you over to Bijan. And Bijan, are you there?
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. So
no worries.
I'm going to start my presentation now. Okay, great. So very excited to be here. I'm head of product at O1 Labs, and we're one of the contributors to the Mina ecosystem. We've been working really hard during the last basically few months in the past few months this year, to have a really clear idea of what our product priorities are. And the reason we think this is very important for us to do is there are so many things that we can do, and it's very important for us to know what are the things that we're not going to do. So what we did was we spent some time with some of the community members, some of our advisors, some of the experts in this space, and even ecosystem contributors to get an understanding of their perspectives on what the highest priority items for the Mina protocol should be in the next few months. And we came up with a list, and we spent a lot of time to kind of discuss what should be prioritized over others. And this is kind of the final list of high priority items that you guys are seeing. As you'll notice, there are a few themes that kind of emerge, and I'll go over those themes in the next slide briefly. But at a high level, it's really about a couple things. One, bringing snaps to mainnet. That's one of the highest priority items that we all acknowledge as very, very important task for us to really bring the potential of Mina to reality. And in order for that to happen, in a useful way, we need to make sure that we're kind of thinking about the developer experience and providing the developers the tools that they need to democratize access to privacy. So we're working a lot of work. We're doing a lot of work there as well to enable the developer community to build Snaps applications on top of Mina using our programming language Snappy.js. We also acknowledge that in the long run, in order for us to continue moving faster and faster, we need to have a really, really strong kind of infrastructure from a testing perspective in order so that we're actually able to deploy things faster and kind of move quickly. So that's kind of what the integration test item reflects here. And we also want to enable the community to be able to run their own networks. And we think this is very crucial to the health of the network. And in order for that to happen, there's some work that we need to do on our side that we're currently working on. But this is another thing that we think is like of high priority for us. And Web Snaps is another high priority. And basically what Web Snaps represents is like connecting the Web 2 or like the real world data that exists today in a private way and enabling Snaps to bring the proof of those data into the blockchain and using HTTPS in a trustless manner. And that's another key area of focus for us. We think that that's really what is going to kind of deliver that promise of bringing privacy to blockchain. Bridging to Ethereum is also another area that I think Evan provided more info on. It's another key area for us that we want to make sure we're able to contribute to. And this would mean some things from O1 Labs perspective, like being available for the other team that's actually doing the bridge to Ethereum, providing them with any answer that they might have about the implementation of Mina that we've had, and really enabling them to move as quickly as they can. Node stability is another area that we understand is very important. There are a few projects that are ongoing right now from a short-term perspective and long-term perspective. In short term, we really want to kind of address some of the crashes that the community has been seeing with their nodes, making the GraphQL more stable, enable it to respond faster. And in the long run, we also need to do some work that really allows for things like the data sizes that are being transferred between the nodes to be smaller, using projects like BitSwap that we're actively working on implementing on Mina. And finally, non-consensus nodes. We want to help one of the ecosystem contributors, ChainSafe, to work as fast as they can with bringing the non-consensus nodes to mainnet. And in order for them to do their work, there's some things that we need to also help them with, such as providing them with more information on how the nodes are currently implemented. That's another area that we understand are key priorities from O1 Labs perspective, but ChainSafe is also really the one that's doing a great work on implementing this, and they're giving this high priority. So this is really like kind of at a high level, like our areas of priority that we're tracking against right now on the product side for the whole Mina ecosystem. And it kind of breaks into like these kind of three themes of like snaps that bring the usability aspect of Mina to the real world, and node stability that allows the nodes, block producers, snarkers to smoothly run their node operation and contribute to the Mina ecosystem, and non-consensus nodes, which would basically allow more devices and a broader audience to actually see the promise of blockchain and being able to trustlessly interact with a decentralized protocol. So these are our key three areas of focus. And what I think bring all of it together is really snaps. And in order for us to deliver that real value to the community, we have to bring snaps to mainnet. And that's coming very soon. I'm very excited to say that our testnet with snaps is going to be during the next quarter. We've already identified a bunch of use cases that we think are interesting for O1 Labs or other contributors to the ecosystem to build. We've built one Hello World example where you can actually create a proof of your trading history without ever revealing the actual details of the trade. And you're able to kind of verify trustlessly that this was my trading history. And this can be used for all kinds of interesting use cases, like maybe bragging rights on crypto Twitter, or gaining access to a particular private Telegram channel. So this is one of the Hello World use cases that we're going to publish for the community to be able to kind of interact with it and see how it works. Our Shahrokhi programming language will be available during Q4 for the developer community to also interact, play with, and start building cool applications. So this is mostly like around kind of bringing snaps to reality. And in order for us to do that, we also need to make sure that we're kind of staying focused on the developer community. We understand the importance of having a good developer experience that would enable these cool applications to be built on top of Mina. At a high level, we're thinking that given that Mina has these unique privacy characteristics, it can be used as a really, really good access to private data among other layer one chains as well. So the trustless bridges would be optional. Like, so for example that Evan mentioned are the grant project with Ethereum Foundation. There's also the bridge with the Polygon network that's coming in. These will all enable the developer community to actually take advantage of the privacy characteristics of Mina in these other layer one protocols. And during the Q4, we'll have some hackathons that would enable the developer community to interact with Shahrokhi.js a lot more and even start building on applications. And the last part, for snaps to really deliver that value, we need to enable web snaps. And basically what web snaps does is using protocols like TLS Notary will connect the Web 2 data to Web 3 using HTTPS in a trustless way. And fortunately, we're working on some new technologies around improving the speed of proving time for the generation of the snaps, such as like 15-wire Plonk, that would actually enable these proof generations to be practically usable. As you might know, ZK snarks have been going through a lot of evolution over the last few years, and the proving time is getting faster and faster every year. And 15-wire Plonk is one of those projects that we're working on right now that will be available with the launch of snaps that would significantly improve the speed of proving time generation. And it basically makes the use of snarks practical for the average users. That's it from my presentation. Thank you very much. Passing it back to you, Richie.
Thank you, Bijan. Absolutely great presentation, very in-depth. The crowd's loving it. Okay, so we're going to hand over now to Christine, and she's going to go through the Mina Foundation Community Spotlight. So please, Christine, if you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Richie. Let me share my screen as well. Right, do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool, thank you. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining. My name is Christine Yip, and I lead the community efforts at Mina Foundation. And today I'll share with you the community spotlight. We have a lot of exciting things that we want to share with you today. The first one is the vision for Mina's community. And there are things that we have in mind how we can build towards that vision, including new community engagement programs, a new leaderboard program, and also new community grants. So let's start. So we're Mina Foundation, a nonprofit organization serving Mina Protocol, the world's lightest blockchain. And our vision is to build a future powered by participants. The mission of Mina Foundation is to serve and empower the expanding ecosystem of Mina participants. And we envision a future with a decentralized community structure. So we want to break down the boundaries between the foundation and the community. And this is actually also what our members want. Like Evan explained, a few months ago, we sent out a survey and we had more than 2,000 responses. And there were some very interesting learnings. So these are some takeaways. The members' vision of Mina's community is for it to be transparent, productive, collaborative, respectful, and guided by a vision. And you want to be part of it by fulfilling these roles, which are guiding and orienting new members, spreading the word and grow the community so that it's diverse and inclusive. You want to be part of shaping the decision-making process for the community, and you want to define safe, inclusive, and values-aligned behaviors for the community. And you want to achieve this by using your listening skills, collaboration, technical, creative, and visionary skills. And now it's time to put those skills and passion and vision in the community to start building the foundations of a future powered by participants. And we have developed a few new programs to help and support this. The first one that I'd like to mention is the Mina Academy and Mina Achievements programs. So these are programs to support participants on their path and to help them succeed. It will include different journeys that members can follow and different learning tracks, including becoming, for example, becoming an expert in designing with Mina, organizing meetups, becoming more well-versed in running social media, and more of these kind of learning journeys. If you complete these journeys, then you will be awarded with a badge. And in order to make sure that these journeys are helpful for the community and will benefit you, we want to invite you to develop these journeys and programs together with us. So we will build a framework for Mina's ecosystem that fosters healthy collaboration and benefits the community. And we know that there are so many skills in a community, and we really want to capitalize on that. The design and structure of Mina's Academy and Mina Achievements will be informed by as many types of learnings, cultures, experiences, and other backgrounds that we are aware of. And because Mina is we're still a very young community, and yeah, this is just the start of a new journey. So if you want to be part of writing Mina's history, if you want to learn and develop your skills, then this is the opportunity for you to grow in Mina's ecosystem. If you're interested, please sign up. We'll share a link with you for the sign up form. And these processes to develop the Mina Academy and Achievement will start in a few weeks in mid-October. The next one is the Community Spark program. This program will feature a leaderboard. Members can earn leaderboard points by helping each other to thrive. It can include educating members about Mina, onboarding them, building tools for them, or supporting others to build tools. Anything that's helping Mina's members to thrive, because if Mina's members thrive, then Mina's ecosystem will also thrive. Just for clarity, I do want to mention that leaderboard points are designed solely to track contributions to Mina's ecosystem and are non-transferable. Points have no cash or monetary value and are not redeemable for any cryptocurrency or digital assets. We may amend or eliminate leaderboard points at any time. So if you're interested in a bit of fun and if you want to join a friendly competition and engage with other community members who are passionate about Mina, then please sign up for our newsletter and we'll let you know when the Community Spark program will launch. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you are new community grants. So these are grants for members who made a high impact in the last period. As Evan showed previously, we've seen some amazing growth in Mina's community, and this wouldn't have been possible without these members. We'll share a list of all the members with you who are eligible to be onboarded for a grant. I'd also like to walk you through them during this presentation. So as you know, one of our promises is to ensure network health and security. And these members, their contributions have enhanced this. I would love to mention Olton, who built this amazing node operated dashboard. He also developed really good documentation and tutorials. StakeTap, who built this block explorer, and David and Beacon Chain, who also contributed node operated dashboards, GraphQL API nodes, and other tools. Our second promise was to champion Mina in a wider world. And we're really, really impressed with how these members are helping in that. Pete from Mina Crypto, I'm not sure if everyone have seen minacrypto.com. If not, please go visit and take a look. There's a wealth of information there. There's a community directory, there's a tools directory, there's a lot of good stuff. We're also really excited about what Moody's team has built. They have different Telegram groups, they have regular voice chats, Podsnark, Twitter, websites. And I would also like to mention Captain Hook, Aki, and Tala, who've helped with making Mina more accessible in different languages as well. And the last promise that I'd like to mention here is our promise to support participants on their paths. And these members that you see here, they've built amazing tools that help support other participants. It includes validated dashboard, scripts for people who are running nodes, really handy rewards calculators or epoch time calculators, and other tools that really help the delegation program from the foundation, and wallets and tools directories. Yeah, I would like to take this chance to congratulate everyone who I mentioned here today. And thank you all so much for all your contributions to the community. The foundation is also looking to improve the review process for contributions. And we would like to involve the community members in developing this together. If you're interested, it's part of the Mina Achievements program. So feel free to sign up and we'd love to work with you. All right, then I would like to end my presentation with one of my favorite phrases that I heard from a fellow community builder that really stood out for me, which is, "A rising tide lifts all boats." You are part of Mina, and if you and your fellow members succeed, then Mina will succeed. And the Mina Foundation will be here to help and support you, and we'll do our best to set you up for success. So if you have any suggestions, questions, feedback, please reach out to us on one of these official channels. We'd love to hear from you. All right, that's all from my side. Thank you all so much.
That was fantastic, Christine. Excellent. So now we're going to look at doing the AMA, and we have a list of questions in there which is still growing, which is great. So I'm going to start from the top. And the first question is, when is the Mina ecosystem expected?
The first Mina ecosystem?
Yes, correct. I think what they're trying to ask is when is there going to be more projects within the ecosystem?
I can take a shot at like kind of a first answer to this, but curious if Christine and Regina, you think things as well for it. I think we're, in some sense, we're already seeing this for a technical and node operator in general Mina community. I think that the kind of next step is for Mina to start having a developer community and users of the developers' applications. So I think it will start really with snaps and the ability to build applications on top of Mina using snaps and zero knowledge proofs and stuff.
Thank you, Evan. Next question. When will the cleanup of staking reward distribution bugs?
So I think this is referring to that the block reward's fixed right now, so it's dependent on hard forks. I think that it depends when the hard fork takes place, and I think there's like, yeah, I guess it'd be helpful to understand exactly what this user's hoping for also, because in some sense, like we're still kind of in line with the initial kind of projection for inflation. It's just going to be about keep doing hard forks to continue to hold to that schedule or hold whatever schedule we want to do. So it's less around cleaning up bugs and more just like hard forks to stick with the schedule, or eventually a hard fork that includes some dynamic block reward that adjusts without a hard fork.
Thank you, Evan. Next question. Will HTTPS snaps be available to developers this year?
I can answer that question. Yeah, so snaps will be available to the developers this year. We will have the testnet in Q4. Right now, we're aiming for the month of November, and with that, there will be Shahrokhi.js also that could be used by the developers. The HTTPS part of it, or the like web snaps part, will become available afterwards. So first, we'll do the kind of Shahrokhi.js with snaps, and then the HTTPS part or the web snaps will be available after that. It would be probably, I would say, a few months or a few weeks after the launch of snaps.
Thank you, Bijan. Excellent. Okay, next question is, I'm interested to bridge Mina with other blockchain projects. How can we negotiate this?
I think reach out to me on either Telegram or Twitter. We're always interested in seeing if we can support other bridges to other protocols. So, you know, that's cool. And let's talk there.
Thank you. Is there any possibility or plan that smart contracts come to Mina protocol, especially with the Solidity language?
So, so smart contracts will be available on Mina, but I also want to mention that Mina is very different than other blockchains like Ethereum's in a sense that the computation on Mina happens off chain and you submit the proof on chain. So programming languages like Solidity are built for the use case of like really doing computations on chain. Whereas in a world of Mina, you can actually do all that like locally in your machine and then just like submit a proof onto the chain and then use that for verification. So I think when we think about it in that context, the use cases will be very different. Things could be a lot more efficient because the computation can happen locally, but there will be smart contract capabilities onto the chain, but not necessarily with solidity. It's going to really be catered towards the specific characteristics of the Mina ecosystem.
Excellent. Again, thank you, Bijan. Now we've got a couple of questions here in one. How does O1 Labs and Mina Foundation see Mina's blockchain real-world adoption? And what markets are we targeting? And why do you think they'll perform better?
Yeah, I'm happy to also give that a try, and then Evan, feel free to chime in and share your thoughts on this as well. From an adoption perspective, our initial target focus are the developer community, especially in the crypto space. We think that the crypto natives really understand the value of decentralization, the value of privacy, and concepts like ZK snarks are fairly new, and there is a bit of a learning curve that we're going to try to kind of flatten that as much as possible with providing the right, basically, workshops and hackathons, and hopefully contributing to the Mina Academy as well. But our initial target, basically, audience would be the developers in the crypto community. We think that there are some very, very meaningful use cases in the DeFi ecosystem. Some of you might be aware of the proof of concept that we did with Teller Finance that would basically enable a user in the DeFi ecosystem to actually verify that their credit score is above a certain number, like 700 on Credit Karma, and then use that to get a uncollateralized loan from Teller Finance. So those are like kind of some examples of like use cases that we're very excited about.
Thank you, Bijan. Another question is, what news is for Matic and Mina?
I think for the latest, actually did a live stream with Sandeep from the Polygon team, and we just talked a lot there about just like some exciting possibilities for projects that Mina's snaps could add a lot of value to some existing NFT and DeFi applications. So I encourage you to check that out. Yeah, I think that's like the latest thing out on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Evan. What will be the first dApp to be built on Mina, and will it be lending or NFT?
Be happy to answer that as well. So we're building a couple Hello World use cases, and we're also working with a couple other organizations that we haven't publicly announced yet to see if there are interesting opportunities for us to launch some dApps on some snaps on Mina. At this time, I would suggest that we all wait and see what comes up. I don't want to make any announcements or anything official here, but we do have some interesting use cases that we're very excited about. From an overall opportunity perspective, or like overall target audience perspective, I think DeFi is the area that we're going to see a lot of activities on in the next few months to come.
Is there a similar Hello World use case for NFTs?
You can definitely build that. So yeah, that would be very interesting, and people are more than welcome to build some of these use cases during the hackathon and workshops, and hopefully we can't wait, honestly, to share the Snarky.js with you all so you guys can start building. But yeah, these are some things that you can do.
We have another good Snarky.js question here, Bijan. Is there a hope for a JavaScript hobbyist like me to learn Snarky.js at one of these workshops, or is this for higher skill level?
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely do that. And the good thing about Snarky.js is really kind of leveraging a lot of the existing infrastructure that's out there with JavaScript, with like familiar IDE testing environments. So yeah, that's definitely something that you can do. And please sign up to the Mina's newsletter so that when the workshops and the hackathons dates are finalized, we can actually, the Mina Foundation can inform you and you can join those sessions.
Thank you, Bijan. Snarky.js isn't really popular among developers. Do you have an exit door for them? And thank you for your amazing work.
Yeah, so I mean, I think maybe if I wanted to kind of guess where this comes from, maybe like the last experience that people have had with programming language related to what we're doing was Snarky, which is really built based on OCaml. Like we haven't released Snarky.js yet. So we've kind of had like a couple workshops in like very, very kind of limited closed environments. And I think once you guys see the final version, maybe that might have a different opinion. But to be honest, we haven't released it yet. So I'm not sure exactly, you know, what we mean by Snarky.js hasn't been popular yet.
Thank you, Bijan. On your wish list, what projects do you hope to see using the new bridge early on and be the role model for others? Good question.
I think it'd be cool if some of the, like, I think like if I think about like the wish list version of this, top DeFi and NFT projects leveraging snaps to start bringing in some real world data onto their applications would be like definitely a dream for it. I think there's some utility there too. So like, I think it could make sense to happen as well.
Thank you, Evan. Is there any plans or a timeline to increase the TPS of Mina?
So I would say that one of the kind of advantages that Mina protocol has is that the TPS, as we've said before, it's not a kind of a design problem, it's more of an engineering challenge that we need to solve, and it's a lot easier, and we have a kind of a good roadmap for that. Right now, we're really focused on driving usage and like kind of bringing that like meaningful use cases of the unique capabilities of Mina, and then scaling Mina protocol around those meaningful use cases, because those use cases will tell us what specific needs the community will have. And there's definitely plan for increasing the TPS. We think it's much simpler than other projects where the size of the blockchain continues to increase as more transactions happen. And we first want to basically bring the meaningful use cases of Mina through the vehicle of snaps to the developer community, kind of enable people to build some meaningful tools for the end users, and then start like scaling with the adoption among the developer community.
Thank you, Bijan, again. If we have a stoppage in the blockchain, like what happened with Solana recently, how will Mina solve this?
So we do a lot of testing and try to make sure that the network is stable. And if you've noticed, in the second item in our kind of list of priorities is actually like integration tests. So we try to kind of create a good balance between speed and security and stability, and hopefully that reduces the likelihood. But if that does happen, that we've seen other networks sometimes go through it as well, there are kind of like plans in place for us to deal with that. And usually, depending on what the issue is, like you might be having a like kind of a network reset, or you have to basically maybe do an immediate hard fork. We do have these plans as like kind of a way of dealing with those urgent scenarios, and we've done some planning for it. But hopefully all the integration tests that we do, all the testnets that we run, kind of allow us to have like a good balance between like speed and security, and hopefully reduce that likelihood to a very, very low probability.
maybe to add to what Bijan said, we're also looking to improving these processes and publishing it with the community so everyone knows what to expect and what needs to be done when such a situation does occur. Hopefully that will help.
Thank you, Bijan and Christine. Is there any token burn planned?
So no, there's not. I think that there's a lot of really productive ways we can think about using the tokens that are available that will help build out the potential of the project and all the different awesome technical directions that are possible. Like I hope, like from this talk today, you get you can see a lot of the different directions we can possibly go with Mina and zero knowledge proofs, and the tokens will be used to make that all happen. So yeah.
Thank you, Evan. When will the new tracking feature be effected?
I'm not clear what the tracking feature is referring to. Maybe somebody else does.
I think we'll skip that question for now. Is there anything the community does to help the testing of snaps?
Yeah, for sure. I think so we kind of went back and forth on this a little bit, but I think that as soon as the protocol work that we're doing right now to bring up the network that has snaps enabled is ready, we're going to reach out to the community and start doing basically some testing. So before we actually do the testnet, there will be a kind of a private QA network, similar to how we approached it in the past, where we would quickly try to release a network, get some quick feedback, iterate really, really rapidly based on their feedback, and kind of launch the next network in a day or two. So we'll do a little bit of that at some point. I think right now, it's most likely going to be kind of later, maybe in mid next month, or maybe starting third week of next month, that we're going to start doing that. I don't want to commit to a date yet, but that's kind of where we're planning right now. And then after that, it's when we actually do the testnet. That's when we need kind of the broader community to come in and really try to help us test the network and test the edge cases with large volume of transactions.
Thank you, Bijan. So we've got a slightly longer question here. Hi guys, first of all, congratulations. You guys are doing an amazing job. You joined the session a little bit late, so sorry if you've replied to this question, which he hasn't. I've heard during the session that there'll be a hackathon in Q4. Is this in this year or 2022? If this is the case, does that mean we will see snaps during this quarter?
Yeah, so it's for Q4 of this year. So thank you for asking that and clarifying. Yeah, it's for Q4 of this year. And will we see snaps on later this year? Yes, so it'll be available on testnet on the mainnet date. I don't want to make a promise yet, but it would be basically after the testnet, and if things go well on the testnet, yeah, so it'd be pretty much a little bit after that.
Sorry about that. Is there any updates about the delegation program?
Not sure what updates you're expecting. However, we're redelegating to a new set of participants. I think this epoch, and yeah, we'll definitely continue to improve the program. We also internally have a new person who will help with this program. So yeah, hopefully we can share more updates on this a bit later. If you would like to be updated, I think probably the delegation program channel on Discord would be the best place to keep an eye on.
When will you connect to the Ledger wallet?
So today, you can connect to the Ledger wallet without using the Ledger Live. That in order for are basically Mina tokens to be stored on a ledger using like Ledger Live. We're working with the Ledger, the company, to enable that, and they're working through it. I think it takes a bit of a time to enable that, and as soon as it's available, then they'd be able to people would be able to directly use Ledger Live to do that. But today, you can actually use CLI directly yourself without using Ledger Live to store your tokens on the ledger.
Excellent, Bijan. We actually get that a lot in the Telegram channel, actually. Thank you. Is there any plans for DEX creation based on Mina blockchain?
Good question. So for the first version of Mina that we're launching, we will have basically the concept of tokens in the protocol. But just because we wanted to speed up the launch of Mina and we wanted to prioritize shipping as soon as possible, we're not having like product support around tokens yet. So for example, our archive nodes will not really have like the context of like tokens yet. But the capability will be there at the protocol level. And a few months after that, as we enable basically the kind of interface to the protocol with regards to tokens, then things such as DEX and like, other applications relevant to like, token swaps or things like that can be built on Mina. Yes.
What is the most exciting potential you see between Web 2 and Web 3 interaction with Mina?
I can have a first answer at this, and if others on the panel, I'm curious what you were excited about. I think one in particular for me is, I think zero knowledge proofs have a lot of potential to improve the way we interact with Web 2, to just increase the trust that we can have with different websites and to reduce the amount of private data we have to leak to use some of these services. So I'm excited about this kind of connection between Web 2 and Web 3, allowing new applications to be built or extensions to existing applications to be built that kind of avoid a lot of these problems with Web 2 around data privacy and around trusted websites.
Perfect. Now, this is probably a broad question for the three of you. Where do you see Mina protocol in 5 years?
I'll give a first stab at this again. So I think like in my like kind of optimal like wishlist version, like Mina has instant finality, it's like super fast, and it's really plugged into the internet in a way that lets the thing I was just previously talking about really happen. And in particular, I think like kind of like something as like a programmer I thought of initially when doing this project was like, what if there's just like a library that I could, a JavaScript library that I could include in my web page, and it gave me access to all the trust and privacy primitives offered by a blockchain as part of my application, using the ability to fully verify Mina inside of the web page itself. And being able to build new applications on top of that, that really take advantage of the technology to allow much more user-friendly things to get built. So, I mean, I'm still excited for that. So I think that would be awesome.
It does sound awesome, actually. Are you planning to make a Mina Power Credit Card service that people can use to prove their cards belong to them without having to share the private credit card info to websites? That's a good question.
We don't have that plan at this time, but why not? You should give it a try.
As a person who is interested in learning Snarky.js, where are all the resources you'll be providing, documentation, etc., for learning it?
Good question. We're actually currently revamping the doc section of the website, and we plan to release the new doc section for Mina before the start of the testnet for Snap. So stay tuned, it's coming. And Jason, who is one of the product leads at O1 Labs, is actually leading that project right now with also our DevRel person, Regina. So they'll be also reaching out to some of the community members to get their feedback. We're actually on that process right now of like collecting some feedback and iterating based on the community's perspectives. But the plan is to release this before the next testnet so that the community can actually engage with the snaps and Snappy.js.
Thank you, Bijan. Are you in discussion with any oracles to bridge data at this time?
So we've had some discussions, but right now we're kind of focused on what we want to do as kind of the immediate milestone, which would be like launching snaps on mainnet.
And Ralph has a question for us. Is there an updated roadmap to share within the community?
That's a good question. So we're actually planning to, I think the Mina Foundation is publishing a blog post very soon that's going to talk more about the product priorities and also product roadmap. So that information will hopefully shed some like more light about like what we think are like the key areas of focus for the next few months and like maybe a couple of years. Curious to know if Christine, there's anything additional that you wanted to add in terms of timelines, or people should just like stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. We'll share something really soon.
With execution off-chain, does the snark proof also prove ensuring authenticity of the off-chain code? Follow up, this implies an official repository somewhere to authenticate against. Where would that be? Where would that be? Would you like me to read that again?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to think like, Evan, if you wanted to give this a try or you want me to answer it.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think that, yeah, so I think that, so basically, once you have the verification code on chain, if you have the code off chain, you can check that it matches up and stuff, I'm pretty sure. So I think that there probably wouldn't be any sort of official repository. It would be up to the developer to post their code somewhere accessible so that people like can find it. I really like the idea of having that live on Filecoin or IPFS though, for the ability to like avoid censorship. If it was on GitHub or something, that would be something like plausible. And I also like the idea eventually of like there being some functionality for Mina to have on-chain storage, which would come down the line later. But yeah, it's a really good question, and I don't think there'd be an official one, but definitely something that we would probably have to think about for guidance for developers for what to do with it. So it's a good one.
The Rust implementation being developed has to be considered as a refactoring of the current OCAM software, or is it going to cover certain use cases, but the current blockchain is going to continue working based on OCaml as such?
So from what I know, ChainSafe is actually focusing on like the unique use case of like non-consensus nodes. So it's not necessarily like kind of just like, doing again like what we're currently doing on the OCaml side with creating the nodes on node client. This would be mostly for the non-consensus nodes. So and the OCaml part will still continue working and we'll continue upgrading it.
Is the token on the Mina blockchain an isolated feature or a smart contract? So
it's an isolated feature. it's kind of natively built in, so it's very so basically the API can be very elegant to interact with it.
Is the token, no, that one's, there we go. Can we expect more blockchains to use Mina in the future?
I think so. I think similar to like the Ethereum and Polygon stuff we're doing, there's zero knowledge proofs have a lot to offer. So plugging them into more chains is something that'll be interesting to a lot of chains. And I think that will be a thing.
Okay, so we've got 3 questions left in the QA. Is it possible for new people to participate in the future testnet? And will everyone be able to participate, or a selected number of people?
So I think, yes, it'd be possible for new people to participate in the future testnet. In terms of like, will it be that everybody who wants to participate, or will it be limited number of people? I think we'll have a better idea like once we start thinking about like the specific objectives of the testnet. Right now, we're kind of working through that process and we haven't finalized it yet, but my guess is that it's going to be like some sort of a limit, but it's still going to basically be a like large number. Like I think last time we did our adversarial testnet, it was like over 1,000 people that could attend. And my guess is that this time is going to be kind of the same, large number of people, but there will be some sort of a cap. At least that would be our suggestion.
Thank you, Bijan. 3 nodes limit per block producer to avoid overloading the network. Is that still the case?
Yeah, right now that's still the case. Yeah.
Okay, and last question. Can you see a standalone Mina KYC verification system created within Mina?
I think yes. Like I think the particularly cool product here is a KYC where I can prove that I've been KYC'd, but I don't actually have to reveal that information on chain. So I can prove some facts about my identity or my information while still retaining privacy over my actual identity. So I think like, yes, and this is a particularly cool use case that we want to do.
Okay. Well, for Evan, Christine, and Bijan, thank you very much for your time today. It's been a successful AMA, what I believe. And just as we want to wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to add before we sign off?
Well, thank you so much. I really want to thank the community for helping us out. We're very excited about the promise of snaps and what they can do to give access to privacy to a larger, basically broader community and a larger population around the world. So stay tuned. Please sign up to the newsletter just so that you're informed when the next testnet or hackathon is happening. And we look forward to building some cool stuff together.
Thanks, everyone. And if you're interested in any of those community programs, please check them out. I think they'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, thanks everyone so much for making time to join today. We're really excited for the next chapters on Mina's journey.